Today's Streets Won't Forget segment shines a light on one of the most underrated strikers of his generation, David Trezeguet. Born in France and raised in Argentina, Trezeguet grew up idolizing River Plate and started his pro career at Platense, but it didn't take long for Europe to take notice. He exploded onto the scene at AS Monaco, where he formed a deadly partnership with Thierry Henry, won 2 Ligue 1 titles, and earned his first call-up to the French national team. Trezeguet went on to win the World Cup with France in 1998, scored the golden goal in the final of Euro 2000 to beat Italy, and finished his international career with 34 goals and 71 caps. From breaking the Italian fan hearts to then spending a decade with Juventus, Trezeguet scored over 170 goals for the Old Lady, won 2 Serie A titles and the Golden Boot in 2002. When his time in Europe came to a close, Trezeguet returned home to Argentina, where he played for his boyhood club River Plate, helping them earn promotion back to the top flight after relegation. His time in Argentina concluded at Newell's Old Boys, and Trezeguet retired in 2015. And Chuck, I know this is a guy that you were so excited to feature. So what makes Trezeguet a great Streets Won't Forget candidate?
Just his prowess. He was so elegant, a big striker, but he had a gifted touch. I always think of his Juve days because I was playing, FIFA all the time with Trezeguet up top, and just a top player. And I'll never forget the golden goal against your beloved Italian
and
side.
Tony won't forget either.
But I just think he is one of those players that you'll never forget. The streets won't forget just how good and gifted and technically savvy he was on the pitch.
Yeah, growing up as an Italian-American kid with Italian family, there are a lot of people in my family that do not like David Trezeguet, right, for that goal in 2000. But you talk about a gifted player, a guy that could do everything on the field, finish with both feet. That was one of the things when he was coming up as a young player, everyone was so amazed about. He looked dual-footed, right?
You couldn't tell which foot was his dominant
You really
foot.
couldn't, and he could run by players. Playing alongside Thierry Henry, they had a similar profile in the way that they ran, their gait, all of that stuff, but he had a little bit of everything and was, in his time, was one of the most dangerous players. Didn't play, I don't think, in that World Cup final that they won, and there was a big controversy about him not playing, but, man, what a talented player.
Yeah, there were some highs and lows in his international and club career, but he's earned some high praise from some pretty legendary football figures. I mean, here's a look at what Arsène Wenger had to say about David Trezeguet. He, was talking ahead of the Champions League final between the Gunners and Juventus in 2006, and he said, Trezeguet is a snake. He's a bit quiet, and then suddenly he kills you. He's a guy who comes alive in the box. Trezeguet is that type of snake. He is a cobra. He has great intelligence in the box and a great sense of anticipation. Thierry Henry, one of his former teammates, also had glowing things to say about Trezeguet and was asked who the best finisher he ever played with was, and he was very quick to say, David Trezeguet is hands down the best finisher I've ever seen. So when you've got those two guys saying this, I mean, that's all you need to know.
It's funny because I think he came in for Yuri Zhorkaev, one of my old teammates in that Euro 2000. Yuri Zhorkaev was called the Snake, right? So they put one. I was so happy when he came out of the game. I'm like, they take the Snake out of the game finally, and there it is. He scores the goal.
Well, let's bring in our own Marco Messina, who's going to add some context to the career of David Trezeguet. Marco, from a Juve fan perspective, how is Trezeguet's career remembered?
He's regarded as one of the best Juventus strikers of all time. Outside of Italian players, he's the top goal-scoring foreign player for the club. And I think everyone remembers his partnership with Del Piero. Del Piero had the creativity, and like the boys were just saying, Trezeguet was the definition of lethal. You gave him one ball in the box, he was going to score you 2 goals, and he did it with such an elegance and such a class that, he gave so many memories for the Juventus fans to celebrate. And then beyond that, he etched his way into the hearts of everyone because he stayed with the team in 2006 when they went down to Serie B. He was part of that group with Del Piero and Nedved and Buffon and Camoranesi that got the team back up to Serie A after the scandal that they were involved in. So he was such an incredible player, and I think it's always the Del Piero-Trezeguet duo that we all remember.
Marco, what was your favorite moment from Trezeguet in a Juve kit?
Oh, my gosh. I remember this goal very well. I mean, in the Champions League, the goals that he was able to score in the big moments, he was known as that Mr. Clutch, right? And look at the way that he would score the goals. You gave him the ball in the box, it was game over. Forget about it. It was done. So I think that those are always the biggest ones. So I'd have to go with goals in Champions League.
Okay, I'm curious to get all three of your opinions on this. Who's like a current player today that reminds you of Trezeguet?
Oh, that's a tough one.
Not to put you on the spot or anything.
Yeah, I didn't think about that one.
You know who could be? Giroud. Giroud reminds me of him with the lethalness in the box.
I think he has, but I think Trezeguet had a little bit more pace to his game and
he's
fluidity.
a little smoother, right, Trezeguet?
A little bit more fluidity.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
So who's another name?
Yeah, that's a tough one, Aly. You stumped me right here. Yeah, I don't know of a like for like. I mean, if you look at it from a gait standpoint, his running gait was, as you can see, was very Thierry Henry-ish, right, when they played together. But we don't have a player like that. And Mbappe may be a little bit stronger
and faster.
Physically and faster, like explosive speed. But I don't know. I'd have to think about that one.
Okay. Very good. Well, what about like a Hugo Ekitike, perhaps? Maybe another player that's similar.
You know what, a Marmouche maybe, even in the way that he plays. Yeah, the way that he plays.
The other old Frankfurt guy.
Yeah. Both of those players are similar.
Okay, so I'm curious, Marco, from your perspective, just like his legacy at Juventus, because it is interesting with him. He has played with some just legendary players, Thierry Henry, Del Piero. I mean, has that almost affected how people view him? Like, does his name kind of get forgotten at times as a result of that?
Yeah, I think you could go down and say he's one of the most underrated strikers, right? And you look back at his time and you don't realize the amount of goals that he scored, the goals in the big moments. You guys spoke about the golden goal in Euro 2000 when he won it for France, and then what he was able to do with Juventus. I think he does fall in that zone of, maybe Arsène Wenger said it best, where he wasn't the loudest player on the field at all times, and sometimes that hurts you. Right? So I think that he is one of the most underrated. For Juventus fans, he's not, though. Juventus fans will tell you that he's probably the best striker that they've ever been able to win this because of everything that he achieved. And then again, when you stay at a club for such a long time and you have the honors that he has in terms of winning trophies, but also just being as a top goal scorer for a non-Italian player is something that goes down in history. And they have a song that they sing, Juventus fans. Trezeguet, Trezeguet, quando gioca segna sempre Trezeguet, which means every time Trezeguet played for Juventus, he was able to score goals.
All right, good stuff. Tony, I thought you were going to jump in and join Marco.
I was going to say, Marco, now, do you remember exactly where you were sitting during that golden goal? Because I do. It was one of those moments. I remember exactly where I was.
No, I remember where I was sitting when he missed the penalty to give Italy the World Cup.
Give the World Cup, yeah.
Sorry, I had to throw it in.
Okay, so a little dig there, but very good. Marco, great stuff. Thanks for popping on and joining us this morning.